Stacey Abrams said Charlie Kirk's murder was a false flag to advance Trump's authoritarian rule. I am so sick of Stacey Abrams, the two-time gubernatorial loser from Georgia, has the audacity to come up with this crazy conspiracy theory like Trump wanted something like this to happen. Are you serious? She's ridiculous. She's not serious. She's very unserious. This is why she continues to lose. This is why she's under investigation for fraud and stuff like that with these businesses she tried to create. And it's just she's not a very serious person. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna show this clip. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Let's talk about this Blue Anon stuff that these leftists are coming up with. Now, this comes from Slay News, and they report that Democratic Party operative and former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams has claimed that Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk's public assassination was a false flag. Are you serious? Abrams claimed, without evidence, mind you, they never provide any evidence, these Blue Anon types, that President Donald Trump is using Kirk's murder as an excuse for the advance of authoritarian rule. How so? How so? Appearing on CNN, Abrams framed the 31-year-old conservative leader's murder as a political tool for Trump rather than a tragedy for his family and the nation. I mean, Charlie Kirk brought a lot of people to Trump over the years since 2015. So why would Trump use this as a way for authoritarianism? But let's just play the clip. Let's play this idiotic clip here. Here we go.
I think it's important that we begin understanding that this is not about left versus right. This is about American autocracy versus American democracy. And if we allow ourselves to get pulled into this false flag conversation, what we risk is losing access to the democracy that gave us free speech, that will also invoke the rule of law to hold accountable anyone who undertakes the act of political violence. But we cannot allow this heinous murder to be exploited as an excuse for the advance of authoritarian rule, which is what we are watching happen. That is step 9 in the playbook of autocrats around the world, that you take advantage of political violence, that you normalize it, but that you also use it as an excuse to justify an expansion of executive authority. And that should not be allowed to hold.
Ridiculous. He's not using it as an excuse. You never see him talk about see President Trump talk about Charlie Kirk in that way. She's making this stuff up. Trump don't need to use Charlie Kirk to go in and clean up these cities, because these cities are already a mess. Has nothing to do with authoritarianism. And they always talk about, oh, we're a democracy. We're not a democracy. We're a republic. But even if you do believe we're a democracy, where was this democracy talk when they foisted Kamala Harris on the Democrat Party without voting? Where's democracy then? Where's democracy? You know, these people are so fake. But Kirk, a husband and father of 2, was shot in the neck during a campus event at Utah Valley University on September 10th, which, you know, we all know by now. You should have already heard that story. He was rushed to the hospital and later pronounced dead, sparking nationwide grief and outrage. While some people on the left celebrated this, and the mainstream media pretended like they weren't out here celebrating online and stuff like that. CNN is pretending like none of this stuff is happening. It's crazy. But the Trump administration swiftly responded to Abrams' remark. White House spokeswoman Abigail Jackson blasted Abrams for injecting partisan rhetoric into a national tragedy. Quote, in the wake of the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk, 2-time gubernatorial campaign loser. That's the same thing. That's exactly what I call her. I swear I didn't read this article beforehand, but that's exactly what I called her. Gubernatorial campaign loser Stacey Abrams has decided to double down on radical left-wing rhetoric that drives Democrat supporters to violence, Jackson said in a statement. We won't further dignify these deranged ramblings, but all you need to know is that every word that comes from her mouth is a lie, and she should seek help for her late stage TDS. Y'all don't know what that is. That's Trump derangement syndrome. The comments echoed Abrams' so-called 10-step framework of autocracy. She outlined the idea earlier this year on Jimmy Kimmel Live. During the show, Abrams insisted the United States was already at step 9. Sure it is, right? By following the laws, we're at step 9. Okay. On Tuesday, Abrams argued that Trump and Republicans had already reached step 10. She accused Trump of turning Washington into a military occupation, claimed citizens were being kidnapped off the streets, and alleged that loyalists had replaced career officials at federal agencies. So let's tackle each one of those point by point. First, she says military occupation. That's not true. DC does have some federal agents, some military on the streets, but they were basically just watching stuff, and it actually helped crime go down. And people asked for that. The people of DC wanted the crime to go down. They wanted this to happen. So the second one, kidnap off the streets. Citizens were being kidnapped off the streets. What citizen have been kidnapped off the street? You talking about illegal immigrants that they're arresting? That's not a kidnapping. That's an arrest, and they're in the country illegally. I mean, she's nuts. She's nuts. So, but she said, "quote When the president of the United States, suborned by his political party, announced that he intends to eliminate access to voting rights in this country." What? When did he ever say he was going to eliminate voting rights? See, they just make stuff up. And she goes on to say that he intends to go after his enemies in this country, something else he never stated. That's authoritarianism under anyone's guise, Abrams argued. Wow. Her comments also highlighted a split inside the Democratic Party. Just last week, Senator John Fetterman, I reported on this, rejected claims that Trump was comparable to Adolf Hitler or an autocrat, urging his party to, quote, turn the temperature down. Abrams flatly disagreed, accusing Americans of naivete for thinking the country is immune to what autocracy looks like. No one is listening. This is falling on deaf ears. Most Americans don't even know what an autocracy is. I'm just being real. But meanwhile, Republicans blasted Abrams for using Kirk's assassination, an act prosecutors say was politically motivated, to relitigate her own autocracy theories, which is ridiculous on the face of it. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.